Habitual drug users are often invisible in our midst until their situation deteriorates to crisis levels. Even then, it is the crisis that gets the attention as the person becomes a patient, a client, or even an inmate. But rarely do they get to tell their side of the story to the rest of us. Tonight, TVO brings you the Canadian broadcast premiere of a documentary that changes that. It's called The Stairs, and we're pleased that it brings 3 of the people featured in the documentary to our studio tonight. They now work on harm reduction with different agencies. So let's introduce Martin Thompson at Street Health, Greg Bell at the Regent Park Community Health Center, and Roxanne Smith at the South Riverdale Community Health Center. And let's also welcome the documentary filmmaker. There's Hugh Gibson, and it's great to have you 4 contributors around our table tonight here at TVO for a discussion about a documentary which I have seen, which will air immediately after this program, and I want to congratulate you for getting it done. It's fantastic. And I want to congratulate the 3 of you for agreeing to be in it. And we'll get into some of these reasons as we go along. Why'd you want to make this in the first place?
I wanted to humanize lifestyles that have been dehumanized. After meeting Marty, Greg, Roxanne, other people in the Regent Park community who work in harm reduction, I saw a lot of things that ran contrary to all the stigma and everything really that I had seen on television and in other films that I thought maybe haven't got it right. So by involving them in the storytelling process, I thought, here's an opportunity to do something different, show another side that I haven't really seen before.
Regent Park is a well-known neighborhood for those who live in Toronto, but for those who live outside the city and may not know it, describe it.
It's in the downtown east side, very close to the sort of the tourist area, but it's had a sort of notorious reputation, especially around the public housing area, which is in the midst of being transformed by a very large, multi-year, multi-billion-dollar renovation and condos going up and that kind of thing, and it sort of sets the backdrop for the film and the neighborhood that these folks have lived for many years.
Now I want to find out why the 3 of you agreed to have a camera follow you around for several years, which is brutally honest in describing the kind of lifestyle that you have all lived. Okay, Roxanne, you want to start out? Why did you agree to let his camera follow you around?
Well, he's a smooth talker. No, I'm just joking. Oh, he is that, though. I thought in the beginning, I didn't realize actually how long we were going to be filming, but I realized that it was more on our time schedules. They weren't really following us around. They were more asking, well, could we get a chunk of time here, a chunk of time there that we could put aside and watch you work? And so it wasn't invasive. It was pretty easygoing, and they were really easy to work with. And the reason I wanted to do the film after it started going was because I did want to give a voice to my community. I do want people to see and recognize that the people in my community is probably people they know, and for sure is someone's brother or dad or sister or grandmother, and our people too, and don't get treated that way.
Greg, I want to know why you agreed to let the camera eavesdrop on your life in such a candid way.
First of all, I was sort of attracted to the fact that I wanted people to see the drug culture, subculture, and my part in it. And so I was excited about that. And I also saw the big picture too, because at that time I was involved in harm reduction, and I still am, but I was getting involved in harm reduction at Regent Park. And I saw the big picture, I think.
What's the big picture?
That this is a harm reduction film, and then we're trying to get harm reduction as a viable source or a way of doing things in the city of Toronto and across Canada.
So somehow he managed to convince you that this was not going to be exploitative of your experiences, but somehow would have a constructive point at the end of the day?
Well, the thing is, at this point when this movie came, I had already done a couple of videos with him. Just for funding and educational purposes for Regent Park and Street Health, right?
So you trusted him?
So yeah, I knew where he was going with it. Yeah.
Got it. Marty, how about you?
Oh, well, you know, for me, it was perfect timing. I mean, Hugh came along in 2007, you know, and 2007, December 25th, you know, I woke up on the stairwells, you know, on Christmas Day because that was my home. And I wanted nothing more than to quit doing crack cocaine. And when Hugh came along and wanted to put me on a film, I says, you know, well, if I'm on this film, people are watching me, then I can't be doing it. So it was helping me, you know, it was the perfect help that I needed to get over the hump. You know, I couldn't be telling people, don't do this, don't do that, if I'm doing it, and I needed help to stop doing it. And he put me on the forefront as, you know, the person, you know, out there doing drugs. You know, I wanted to change my life, and having it all documented was perfect. You know, I welcomed it.
Hugh, these were not the only 3 people you originally planned to chronicle in your movie. What happened?
When I started out, I didn't know how the movie was going to turn out. I followed other people initially. There was one moment sort of early on when Greg and Marty and other people we were all sort of seated around a table and discussing, okay, here's what we want to do. I've done the educational films that Greg had alluded to, and they had turned out well. And so we're talking about who might participate. And someone interrupted me and said, oh, you know, yeah, but how's the movie going to end? Or is there going to be a happy ending? And of course, I don't know. I had no idea. And then someone else piped in, well, that depends on us, doesn't it? And I always remembered that. And the person who said it had been prominently featured in the first of the educational films I had made. And she actually passed away.
How did she die?
Health complications due to her, I guess, her lifestyle. Yeah, so this happened with a couple of other people, and but I guess Marty and Greg and Roxanne, they always they stood out for me for different reasons. And
well, let me ask about Greg, because Greg, I mean, he shot for 5 years, right?
Right.
And did you not disappear for one of those years?
I might have disappeared, maybe not for a full year. I don't really remember. My lifestyle it was crazy back then.
So what was going on where you just sort of were not a part of this for a while?
I can't really remember not being a part of it for a long time. I mean, there's many phases. This film was filmed over 5 years, and part of it, I remember in the beginning, I was actually in school at George Brown, and so I was going through the process of getting my shit together.
Taking what?
Huh? Taking what?
What courses were you taking?
Community worker course.
Got it.
And then I got beat up by the police halfway through the second semester. And
you sure did, and that's in the movie.
And that's in the movie too.
Yeah.
And that basically kiboshed my school for the year. I sort of went back to school the next day, but I felt like I went to school the next day after the beating, and I had to have big Terminator X glasses on, and you could still see the bruising and the stuff. So I told everybody I got hit by a motorcycle or something like that, or a motorcycle accident. I mean, it was really, really embarrassing. And anyways.
I think we should show you all at work. So let's, Sheldon, I'm on the top of page 2 right now. Marty, you want to see what you look like on TV?
Sure.
All right, here's a clip from Marty from the documentary, The Stairs. Roll it.
When I'm out here looking for crack, and it's 11, 12 at night and the hostels are locked, I can't get in, and it's raining, I go sleep in these high-rise apartment buildings around here. I go sleep there, go to the top floor, sleep on the stairwell. These are the stairs. Yeah, come on to my living room. Sit down in my living room. You're hungry? Come on down to the kitchen. Oh, now you're in the kitchen. Now you're in the bathroom. Now you're in the dining room. Hey, this is my home. Used to be all the time my stairs. I used to just sleep right here like this.
Those stairs were your home, eh?
Those stairs were my home. I first moved to Regent Park in 1969. I was 8 years old. You know, I came there. Regent Park was the best place for any kid to grow up, because we had a community center, and every day after school, all the kids in the park went to the community center. And every year, if you were good in championship hockey, you get to play in Maple Leaf Gardens. You know, as a young kid, and baseball, Christie pitch, you know, and everybody went around, had trophies or championship jackets on. It was beautiful. Once they took the community center out of Regent Park, the kids had no place to go after school. Okay, and that's when the drugs came in, and everything just went to whack. Crack cocaine came into Regent Park in 1977. Okay, and that's when everything started going downhill.
Did you get involved in it then, in 77?
No, I wasn't involved in it in 77. You know, I was more just a worker. In 77, I was probably working in Regent Park as a caretaker. You know, or I was working at Planter's Peanuts when I was 16, you know, making 18 bucks an hour, or working at Nielsen's Chocolates. I always worked, you know, and went to sports. I was always an athlete. I didn't try crack cocaine until 1981, 82.
How and why did you start?
Curiosity.
Somebody showed it to you?
What's the big hype? What's the big hype? And the first time I did it, You know, I got high, I thought it was like a Benny high. You know, it was nothing to me. You know, I didn't really pay no mind to it. And then while working in Regent Park as a caretaker, I tried it again, and this time it hit me. You know, and then from that point on, I started missing work. I started losing jobs, you know, and crack cocaine had the better of me. You know, and I got hooked on that. So for 22 years, I was hooked on crack cocaine, you know, and I was homeless for 5 years, and I suffered mental illness through that whole period. You know, I supplied myself with crack cocaine for 22 years, but 15 years I was a booster. I used to go into department stores, and my specialty was golf balls, power tools, and bed sheets. And I had one fence that took everything.
So a booster meant you went, stole stuff, and flipped it.
And flipped it. So I was making, you know, $700 to $1,000 a day, every day, for 15 years. When I started doing my boosting, there was no Sunday shopping. I had Woolworths, I had Kresge's, and I had Kmart's. You know what I mean? I had no stores, you know, and then the Sunday shopping came in. And in that 15 years, I took 5 arrests for my boosting, but crack cocaine, you know, it has such a hold of me. I have 60 convictions. You know, my second home was jail. You know, and I just continued on until, you know, pretty much until I met Hugh, 2007.
How did you finally beat it?
You know, waking up on the stairs, like I said, was the worst feeling I ever had in my life. You know, I never felt, you know, I never felt so bad in my life, and I did it to myself, and I don't know how I got there. You know, and I just wanted to stop. I just wanted to stop crack cocaine because it was taking everything, and I was willing to do anything and everything for it.
And you don't do it anymore?
I don't do crack cocaine no more. Crack cocaine has no effect on me whatsoever. When you're in recovery, environment is key. You know, and when I lived in the park where I lived, every time you come out your door, everywhere you look, there's crack cocaine and dealers and everybody everywhere. You know, when I tried to leave that area and go live on my own, I became a hermit. You know, I had no one to talk to. You know what I mean? I'd go ride the subways, say hi to people, or to ride my bike. You know what I mean? Stay away from the crowd. And that was getting me nowhere. I was going stir crazy. I said to myself, it's not their fault I'm on crack cocaine. It's my fault. So, you know, I only started going back to my community, speaking to these people when I was working as a peer outreach worker.
And Marty, do you think you've got it beat now?
I don't think I know. I know I've got cocaine beat. I know I got crack cocaine beat. You know, I used to sleep on the stairs. You know, I've got a nice bachelor's apartment where I'm paying, you know, $800 a month for rent. You know, I got a job where I'm making great money. You know, I'm a contributing member of society now where I go to work every day. And my job is a dream, man. You know what I mean? It's a dream. I mean, I'm a harm reduction outreach worker. So I work with drug users, I work with the homeless people and the mentally ill every day. I either help facilitate workshops for them, or I see them out there twice a week when I'm doing my harm reduction work by handing out the pipes and needles to the drug users. You know, and when I'm down there, these drug users who I've been smoking for 20 years, and we see each other now, like, I'm empowering to them. You know what I mean? And them to me, I don't want to go back there and they want to be where I am. You know what I mean? It's wild, man. You know, to get up to go to work, do that every day, man, you know, sometimes, and get paid for it, man. You know, it's unbelievable, you know, so.
Good for you, Marty.
You know,
thank you.
No, it's a long way, but yeah.
Greg, you ready to have a little spotlight on you for a bit here?
Sure.
Okay, Sheldon, shall we? Let's roll the clip. Here's Greg.
Hey, Greg, how's it going, man?
Hey, Pete, what's up, man? How you doing? It's hot outside, eh?
It is hot.
You need a kit, eh? An injection kit?
Yes, please.
All right, no problem. 1 cc's?
Yes, please.
I hear you. Nobody likes using them half cc's. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why.
Can't find a vein with that.
Exactly. Here you go. You're leaving the building, right?
Yeah.
All right. How's everything? No, you know how it is. Policy is, right? I can't hand out kits until you actually leave, unless you leave the building. Listen, I went from a guy who smoked crack in the washroom and who used to smoke drugs outside on the property to actually being hired here, and I think that's a miracle. You know what I mean? Actually, I shouldn't say I smoke drugs in the washroom too much because I don't know. But anyways, I used to. And this is the way it is.
Let's go through a bit of your history here as well.
All right.
How did you end up having a relationship with that drug?
With crack cocaine?
Yeah.
Wow. I think I was living in Flemington Park. No, actually, the honest to God's truth is I started smoking in 1984. I went to my friend's house.
You're old. How old at the time?
I 1984. I don't know. I was maybe 20 something, whatever.
Okay.
Can't remember the exact old.
So somebody had it at this party.
No, I went to I was staying with my friend's house, living in his backyard in a tent, and I didn't know that his mom was a drug dealer. So his mom used to give her son, I don't know, maybe a half ounce of whatever of powder or a quarter ounce of powder a day. Just get out of the house and go do something with it. So he would come and give it to me, and we would experiment with it, and
you got hooked.
And I got hooked on smoking, but actually that ended. That was like for a summer, and then I'd stopped. Then all of a sudden I just stopped, and
You stopped on your own?
Yeah, I stopped on my own. I don't know. I wasn't fully hooked into the lifestyle, I guess. See, there's more than just this crack smoking. There's also a lifestyle that goes with it, right? That's highly addictive too.
What's addictive about the lifestyle that
Well, you can
accompanies it?
you can be a guy who has a job like you and smokes crack after work, or you can be a guy that lives amongst the people that smoke crack or be in that environment 24 hours a day. So, I mean, that's part of the lifestyle, right?
We should just establish, Greg, that I don't smoke crack after work. 'Cause you
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use you but you're standing in front of me.
You kind of gave people the impression that I might do that, so I just wanted to clarify that.
No Rob Ford thing happening here. Nothing like that.
All right.
No, I'm not that guy.
Okay. Now tell us that clip that we saw there. That's you, obviously in your new job.
Right.
What are you doing in that scene?
I'm actually facilitate a shower and laundry service at Regent Park Community Health Center. I handle harm reduction supplies. I advocate for people's on behalf of people, whatever, stuff like that. You know, and just people come to the office, they want to hear me, whatever they need help on the computer, whatever. You know, if they need anything to look up or stuff like that, I just help them. You know, so. You
call them harm reduction supplies. What is that actually?
Those are the tools of our trade. They include crystal meth pipes, crack pipes, and injection kits. And we supply all these things to people so that they can use drugs and not in the safest way possible.
Now, some people are going to wonder how that exactly helps people get off drugs by, they would say, enabling it.
It's not, okay, there's all kinds of people. You got people that are abstain from drugs, period, and they can do it really quickly. You got people that use 12-step programs and they're slowly weaning themselves off. You got people that have no intention of quitting today, or they want to use drugs today. That's where the harm reduction is for that person, so they can use drugs as safely and as possible for that day and cause the least amount of harm to themselves.
Do I infer, though, that at some point you hope that they will get off drugs altogether?
Sure. I mean, that's the hope of everybody. I mean, I hope I get off drugs. I mean, except for marijuana.
You
right?
do a little marijuana now, right?
I smoke. I do a little bit of everything. Well, not everything, but I still smoke crack every once in a while.
You do, eh?
I do.
Now you're different from Marty.
Yeah, I'm different from Marty. Me, Marty. But that's the harm reduction spectrum right there, right? Okay. Right, and it's a very inclusive, right? So now, if I couldn't be in his club, right? If we were in the 12-step program or anything like that, I couldn't be in his club and he couldn't be in mine. But in harm reduction, we're in the same club, and I get support from him, he gets support from me, and it works like that.
Now, why do you think your approach makes more sense than his? He just stopped cold turkey.
It works for some people. But I went through that process of trying to quit, either through abstinence-based programs or rehabs and stuff like that, and it never, for some reason, I never felt inclusive in it at all, at no time, and I could never admit. Step one is you got to admit powerlessness or something like that over whatever drug or whatever, and I could never do that. I can never admit powerlessness. My ego tells me I can't do that, and. I don't know. It's just the way it is.
How healthy do you feel today?
How healthy do I feel today?
Yeah.
A lot. Other than the arthritis in my hip that just came along in the last 6 months, I feel very healthy.
How old are you now?
I'm 54.
You're 54. Marty, you're how old?
56.
You're 56. Okay. Should we find out from the birthday girl now? You just joined your 50s yesterday, didn't you? Yes,
no,
indeed.
Tomorrow.
Well,
tomorrow. Yes. Yeah. Oh, right. Yesterday. You're right.
You just joined the 50s yesterday. You're 50 years old, Roxanne. Okay. Should we look at Roxanne at work in this documentary? Go ahead, Sheldon. Let's show it.
In 2009, when my partner overdosed, I was having a really, really hard time sleeping. I think I had gone maybe 3 or 4 days without sleep, even with medication. I woke up and I realized there was cops all around me. I didn't really know where I was, but I recognized the area. So I was trying to figure out where I was, but the cops were trying to handcuff me. And when I looked down, I was naked. So I was like, what the f is going on here? I had walked about 3 blocks naked down to a public park at the end of my street. My doctor told me the level of PTSD I have is comparable to someone who's been at war.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. How do you think you ended up being diagnosed with something that significant?
Just repeated traumas over and over.
What kind of trauma?
Well, life on the street for a woman is very different than life on the street for a man. We're dealing all the time with being bullied, pushed around, you know, people taking advantage of you, especially if you're at that time. I mean, being out on the street and the sex trade, you had to put up with a lot.
So you got your share of being beaten up?
Yeah, it happened. Yeah.
Well, I did hear you say in the documentary you did fear for your life along the way.
Yeah, a lot. You do.
Yeah.
But I think I was better at getting out of situations. There's less situations than people might think. We took care of each other out there. We made sure that people knew where we were going. I mean, I think there's a lot of people think that, you know, we just walk out there and do our thing, and it's not like that. There's a lot of work goes into it, a lot of thinking and taking care of each other and staying connected in the community for our own safety.
It is a community.
That's right.
In that respect. How did you get started on drugs in the first place?
For me, it was like just kind of in the lifestyle. The first time I really realized that I was hooked on a drug was because a doctor gave me a drug, though. I used to get like trauma, nightmares, and headaches, and pounding headaches that I couldn't even see straight, and I'd hear buzzing in my ears. And my doctor, who was my same doctor who I seen like once a month, tested me for everything I needed to be tested for. If I had fears about anything, would do what I needed to do to reassure myself that where my statuses were with my health. So he had put me on opiates at that time, and I was on them for years and years and years before I ever started using hard drugs or harder drugs.
And what started you on the harder drugs?
Being in the lifestyle and realizing that the drugs that I was on for pain, I couldn't get off of, and they weren't working for pain anymore.
So at some point somebody offered you a hit of something and you took it, and then you were on your way.
Yeah.
And what happened? Can you sort of give us an idea of what happened to you once you got hooked on drugs?
I think for a long time it was just felt great because I was coping and I felt better and I didn't have pain and I had the energy to get up and be a good mom and take care of the things I had to take care of in my household and still lay down, get some sleep, and get up and go to work and do it all again the next day, and 7 days a week, you know. And having that energy and getting everything done was very attractive to me, made me feel healthy, even when I wasn't healthy. And that's basically where I tried to keep it.
Can you tell us about the moment where maybe you came to a realization that this wasn't as much fun as you thought it was going to be and you needed to change your lifestyle?
I think that started happening probably in around the time I realized I was pregnant with my youngest son in 1996, and I just quit everything. I stopped doing anything. I smoked weed here and there for medical reasons, and just trying not to use opiates, so dealing with my pain through using marijuana. But my doctor knew exactly how much I was doing, what I was doing. Yeah, I just stopped.
You just made the decision to quit cold turkey like that?
Oh yeah, being pregnant with for the second time, and just knowing that getting myself in a different headspace and keeping this baby healthy was the most important thing, as well as knowing that it would be healthier for my oldest son, that it was just a lifestyle change I wanted to make. And when that happened, everything else started changing too. I went to school, and then I won a scholarship, so I went back to college again. And just from there, things changed. And meeting people along the way that supported me, knowing that I was a drug user, but I was still trying to accomplish everything that I wanted to accomplish.
What did you take at school?
First, I took the Assaulted Women and Children's Counseling and Advocate course at George Brown College. I won the Sandra Fishley Scholarship for advocacy in my community. And then I went back and fast-tracked through the human resources program with a major in addiction and a minor in mental health.
George Brown again?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
Have you had any relapses since then?
Yes. Yeah. Many.
And how do you handle that?
Poorly. Depends, actually. When I decide to use, that doesn't feel like a relapse to me. I'm just using. But when I use out of maybe like reflex, or when I didn't want to use that extra money I had saved for something, or just bad timing, then I can shame myself into a bad place.
How old are your kids now, Roxanne?
20 and 28.
Do you know if they use drugs?
I do, no.
And
yes.
do they?
My youngest son uses drugs, and my older son does not.
Okay, let's talk about the younger one for a second.
Okay.
I presume at some point, given your expertise in this area, earned the hard way, you have had a conversation with him that goes something like, you got to stop this. How does that conversation go?
Well, just like that. I mean, it's much different when you're looking at your child and knowing that what I know, having watched people die right in front of me in my arms, yeah, it tears me up, but I can't make him do anything. So all I can do is support him at every single turn.
How hopeful are you that that's going to work out?
Oh, I never give up hope. It's going to work.
You think eventually he'll get there?
I do. He's brilliant, and he has a lot of strong people around him that understand what he's going through, and a lot of people that love him to the core that are going to just be as diligent as I am going to be.
Good. Hugh, I need to ask you this. I know you came at this documentary from a, let's say, an empathetic position. You wanted to kind of shine a light on difficulties that the people chronicled in your movie were undergoing, and you didn't want to bring kind of judgment to the process. Having said that, was there a moment in any of this where you wanted to grab Greg or grab one of these two and kind of shake him by the shoulders and say, you've got so much to live for and you're really screwing this up. You got to beat this. Any moment like that?
I try to not think of it exactly in those terms. I mean, I care a lot for everyone you see in the film. I want the best for them. I also wanted to capture the sort of struggles that they go through. I don't know, it's difficult to frame it in quite that way.
Well, I won't say that,
yeah.
you lived their experience, because after all, you're behind the camera, you're not in front of the camera. But having said that, 5 years of following some pretty hard tales over that period of time, how did you yourself not get burned out by all of this?
I had to step away a couple of times, I guess, just for better clarity about what I was doing, and maybe feeling the responsibility, I guess, of what I was doing, and wanting to do justice to Marty, Greg, and Roxanne. But I just kept with it, I guess. Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you thought you might lose one of them during the course of the documentary?
Well, as you alluded to,
you did lose
with
some
Greg,
of the others.
well, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, not.
You're the problem child.
Not to
here, right,
pick
Greg?
on you, Greg, but I didn't see Greg for about a year, and I definitely worried about him. And I was very glad that we reconnected when we did, and then led to some remarkable stuff. Yeah.
The Regent Park of today, compared to the Regent Park of the 70s and 80s, when the drug trade really became extremely problematic there. Marty, I wonder if you could make a comparison, because you know this is a neighborhood that's trying to make a transition right now.
Well, back in the days when Regent Park, like as I told you before, we had the community centers and whatnot, it was family oriented, you know, and it had all kinds of families, blacks, white, Chinese, whatever, and they all played together. Right now with this Regent Park revitalization, they've moved 90% of the people who I've grown up with out of the park. Where they put them, I don't know. What they're doing, I don't know. But
well, I think the idea is moving them to temporary quarters, and then when the redevelopment is done, people move back.
Okay, that's what they said. So let me put it to you what they're doing now. Right now, I'm saying, for instance, that there's 20 condo buildings in Regent Park now, in the new Regent Park. Only one of them is made for low-income housing. Okay, the other 19 are market value. Okay, so now when people, they said coming back, they call the people back who are going to be paying the market rent. Okay, they're not counting those people who are paying $113 per month for rent, because you have that in the condo building. One person paying $113, looks over his balcony, but he's paying $200,000 or $300,000 for that condo. You know what I mean?
But in terms of what let me put it this way. I think it's fair to say that there was certainly a time when the rest of the city looked at Regent Park as a place to avoid.
Right.
And now I see, organizations like the Maple Leafs and the Raptors. I mean, they're building basketball courts there. They're putting facilities. They're putting, infrastructure in place there. Does it feel to you like it's a neighborhood that is in the right direction?
No, because, I mean, these basketball courts, I mean, they put a baseball diamond there for the Blue Jays there. That was great. That was the old Regent Park for the kids. This basketball court they're talking about that Ratchet put in is there over in Moss Park, but once it gets built, you have to pay to go in there. They got a swimming pool in Regent Park, but you have to pay to go in there. You know what I mean? And it's not for the people who still live in Regent Park. I mean, the south side's all built up, plus part of the north, but there's still a north side that has about maybe 6 buildings that are still old Regent Park. You know what I mean? And they're slowly moving out.
Okay.
You know?
Roxanne, where do you live now? Are you still in the neighborhood?
Yep.
You are still there. So you're seeing it on a daily basis. Does this place feel like a different neighborhood for you now?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Better?
Well, I mean, it's prettier, if that's better. But I mean, it's not our communities that are benefiting from the new buildings. Like, they're not. What they've done by moving everybody out of those buildings, first of all, is they've scattered people all over the city. People that used to have community used to know that they could walk just down the hallway and get help, or they could walk across the street to the community center and take their children, and they could find a way for them to find some safe recreation. Now they're dropped all over the city. They have no community around them. A lot of people are using by themselves now and don't have someone with them.
But do you believe that at some point, everybody's going to move back in and it will be as it was?
No.
You're not buying that yet?
I don't buy it.
Greg, how about you?
I don't buy that at all.
How come?
It's a gentrification. It's almost like I would say it's a subtle takeover of a neighborhood. You take a certain demographic out of the neighborhood, demolish the infrastructure, get new infrastructure, right? That with a higher price content, right? And then you get new clientele to move into these buildings, and that's what you see. I get off at the streetcar Schumacher and Dundas or Sackville and Dundas now, and I don't know anybody getting off those stops whatsoever. Whole new crowd to me. The Regent Park Bistro, nice place, eh? The Aquatic Club, stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's a prettier place, right? And there is a new demographic living in the place, but like I said, there's not a lot of low-income housing in Regent Park anymore, right? And the ones that they do have, they have certain design features on the buildings that make you know that that's a low-income place, and not as aesthetically beautiful as the condo across from it, which is obviously a higher value, right? So
Gotcha.
They are.
Let's come full circle here. I want to know from you, Hugh, whether after having looked at this for such a long period of time, that you believe in this harm reduction approach that your 3 protagonists here are promoting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen it over the years. I went into this not knowing anything about it. It may shock you to learn that I'm a white upper middle class individual. And I just kind of went into it. I mean, I had very different ideas about drug use, rehab, recovery, these kinds of things. And, you know, I saw harm reduction. I saw what these guys do. I saw the value of distributing kits, about the community involved, and the way people look after each other, and the essence of being non-judgmental, the value of agencies hiring peers to work as the sort of front line and a bridge between street population and agencies where people wouldn't normally want to come in and access services, and the fact that providing this kind of care, it really impacts positively on people's health in so many ways.
I don't have to tell you, there are a lot of people who are watching right now who will think, you know what, these needle exchange places make me nervous. There's something, that doesn't quite feel right to a lot of people. And yet you swear by this?
Fear comes from not knowing more about it, basically. So I educated myself, and I spent time with the people on the show here and many others, and I have a very different understanding. And I hope that people watch the film who are skeptical and maybe open their eyes a little bit.
I did ask everybody around this table whether they did drugs, and everybody was very open about their particular status. You're the one guy I did not ask. Has this ever been an issue in your life?
It's not part of my own background, no.
So you don't bring that to the documentary?
No, and I think that everyone here was my guide. They navigated me through the world of the neighborhood, through the world of harm reduction. They taught me as I went. And I think maybe part of the reason that they participated was not just that it was a chance to show the real side, but also they had an element of ownership over their own storytelling and were able to guide me and dictate in some ways what was being shown.
Marty, I want to know from you whether you ever looked at this guy, the filmmaker, and said, you know what, man, you're too white, you're too upper class, you're never going to get this.
Like Roxanne said earlier, excuse me, he was just so honest, and just, he made me feel so comfortable. I invited him into my home, he asked, he was very considerate, very concerning, and, but first and foremost, that wasn't in my mind. My mind was in my mind that, see, Hugh, I can quit smoking crack cocaine. So, I had welcome with open arms. And, Hugh, just like people like Mary Kay McVicker and Josie Riccardi from the Regent Park Health Center, Mary Kay from Street Health, these were people who were totally strangers to me. And they changed the course of my life. I trusted them. I didn't even know them. I trusted them. Well, I wasn't doing too good in my own life, and things just changed. They seen the good in me and brought it out.
Roxanne, I want to give you the last word on the program tonight. When people watch this documentary, immediately following this program, what's the one thing that you would like them to take away from it?
I would love for people to consider our lifestyles and think about going and getting a package of naloxone. Teach people how to use naloxone right now, because you never know if someone's going to overdose around you. Just educate each other and educate the community and stay supportive of each other, because I think we can get through this and do even better things, bigger things together if we stay together.
Great. I want to congratulate you for getting this documentary done. It's terrific, and I want to congratulate the three of you for agreeing to appear in it, because by opening up your lives, I think you're going to help a whole lot of other people who will watch this and take note.
That's the idea.
That's the idea.
Thank you for having us, man. Getting the word out there. Right on.
We're happy to have you here tonight.
You.
That's Marty Thompson from Street Health, Roxanne Smith from South Riverdale Community Health Center, Greg Bell from the Regent Park Community Health Center, and of course the documentary filmmaker himself, Hugh Gibson. And the doc is called The Stairs, and it's on right after us. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit TVO.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.